In the bustling city of Adenze, Delta State, everyone recognized Chica, though nobody understood her past. They saw only her present, not the circumstances that had shaped her. At 23, Chica wore revealing skirts and fitted tops. Her hair changed colors constantly. She occupied a tiny room behind Mama Kechi's shop near the Central Market. Daily, people gossiped about her. Nightly, she walked the streets seeking men who would compensate her. She smoked openly, unconcerned about observers. Her appearance shifted, sometimes crimson hair, sometimes golden, sometimes violet. She applied overly bright cosmetics and wore extremely high heels. Mothers throughout Adenze used Chica as a cautionary tale. Don't become like Chica, they'd warn. Focus on your studies. Attend school. Don't end up like that disgraceful girl trading her body for cash. Market women ridiculed her as she passed. Look at this one, they'd scoff. No parents, no prospects, just a shameless woman. Even secondary school students felt superior, believing education would prevent them from her fate. Yet Chica never responded. She walked by confidently, cigarette in hand, pretending their cruelty didn't wound her. But internally, each insult cut deep. Chica wasn't always this way. Once, she was a child with aspirations. Born to a woman named Ada, her father abandoned them before her birth, fleeing to another state upon learning of the pregnancy. Ada struggled alone, selling oranges roadside and washing clothes for wealthy families, any work to feed her daughter. At 7, Chica started primary school. Teachers praised her intelligence, but when she reached primary 4, tragedy struck. Her mother fell ill. Initial fatigue and coughing worsened progressively. Without funds for medical care or family support, Ada continued working despite her condition. One morning when Chica was 11, she discovered her mother had died during the night. Chica mourned for 3 days. Neighbors assisted with a simple burial, then forgot the orphan child. School became impossible without money for fees or food. Unable to pay rent on their small room, Chica began begging at 12. By 14, an older girl taught her to steal. By 16, a woman suggested easier money through prostitution. Starving and exhausted from hardship, Chica agreed. By 23, she'd forgotten her former self, building emotional barriers. She acted tough because life had been merciless. Many Adenze women condemned Chica. Mrs. Okonkwo, mother of 3 university students, boasted about raising her daughters properly, unlike that shameless Chica. Mrs. Aberry, who owned a large market shop, lamented, "What a waste. Education would have saved her." Teacher Auntie Ngozi used Chica in moral lessons. Do you want Chica's fate? Then respect yourselves and focus on education. Their daughters, clean uniformed students carrying lunch boxes, studying nursing, teaching, law, and accounting, viewed Chica with contempt, believing their education made them superior. Nena, Mrs. Okonkwo's eldest, excelled academically and studied accounting. Chidima, Auntie Ngozi's daughter, pursued nursing with quiet devotion. These girls thanked God they weren't like Chica. But life surprises everyone. One sweltering March afternoon, Chica sat outside Mama Kechi's shop smoking when a luxurious black car stopped nearby. A well-dressed man emerged, clearly a businessman, asking directions to 47 Riverbank Road. When Mama Kechi couldn't help, Chica offered assistance. Though noticing her appearance, the man also saw a helpful human being. She suggested riding along since directions were complex. In the expensive car with leather seats and cold air conditioning, they introduced themselves. "I'm Emeka," he said, explaining his business trip from Lagos. Chica guided him through Adenze's shortcuts, reaching Riverbank Road within 15 minutes. Emeka offered payment, but something stirred within Chica, exhaustion from always accepting men's money. "Keep it," she said. I simply helped you find your way. Surprised, Emeka looked at her differently, seeing authenticity beneath her appearance. At least let me buy you lunch as thanks, he offered. Hungry from not eating since yesterday, Chica accepted. At a small restaurant, Emeka ordered rice and chicken. They conversed. He discussed his business, Lagos life, and dreams. Chica mostly listened. What could she share? That she sold herself? That Adenze called her worthless? But Emeka's gentle questions showed genuine interest. Do you have family? He asked. No, Chica whispered. My mother died when I was 11. I never knew my father. I'm sorry, he said sincerely. That must have been difficult. His kindness cracked her defenses. She spoke truthfully for the first time in years about her mother's orange selling, interrupted education, and solitude. Though she omitted her current lifestyle, he seemed to understand. After lunch, Emeka requested her number. I'd like to speak to you again. Skeptical he'd call, Chica gave it anyway. That evening, her phone rang. Emeka remained in Adenze 3 days. Each evening brought phone calls. Day 2 included dinner at a nice hotel. Day 3 featured a city drive before his return to Lagos. They discussed everything. Emeka shared losing his parents in a car accident at 20, struggling to build his business and experiencing loneliness, not knowing who genuinely cared versus who wanted his wealth. Chica realized even wealthy people carried pain. For the first time, a man treated her worthwhile beyond her body. Emeka never made inappropriate advances or suggested hotel rooms. He conversed with her as a thinking, feeling human being. After returning to Lagos, Emeka called Chica daily for 2 months. They talked for hours. Chica revealed things she'd never shared. One day, Emeka shocked her. Chica, I want to help transform your life. I understand your situation. No explanations needed. You deserve better. You can become more than circumstances forced you to be. Chica wept. Nobody had ever believed in her. Emeka began sending monthly financial support, not for her body, but simply to help. He encouraged abandoning street life, promising support while she discovered her purpose. Initially doubtful it would last, Chica watched Emeka keep his word month after month. He sent money, called daily, and visited Adenze monthly. Gradually, Chica changed. She stopped meeting different men, quit smoking, and dressed more modestly. Using Emeka's support, she rented better accommodation and bought nicer clothes. Adenze residents noticed, but assumed she had found one wealthy sponsor instead of many. They didn't know the truth. After 6 months, Emeka brought Chica to a quiet restaurant. Holding her hands, he said, Chica, knowing you has been my life's greatest joy. I know your history, but I also know your heart, your true inner self. I've fallen in love with that person. Chica couldn't believe it. Emeka said, I want to marry you. Be my wife. Let me give you the life you deserve, the life you would have had if the world had been fair. Tears streamed down Chica's face. Emeka, you don't know everything. I've done terrible things. I've been with countless men. I lack education. I have nothing to offer. Your family will reject me. People will ridicule you. I don't care about opinions, Emeka said firmly. I care about you. Your past doesn't define you. What matters is who you choose to become moving forward. I choose spending my life with you, if you'll accept me. Through tears, Chica said, yes. News that Chica was marrying a wealthy Lagos businessman shocked Adenze completely. Mrs. Okonkwo nearly dropped her market basket. Chica? That street girl marrying? Impossible! Mrs. Aberry couldn't fathom it. What man would marry someone like that? He must not know her past. Auntie Ngozi felt confused. How? My educated daughter Chidima, with a nothing degree, still searches for a husband. How can Chica, who didn't finish primary school, marry first? Market women discussed nothing else for days. Some claimed Emeka was bewitched. Others suggested Chica used magic to trap him. Some predicted the marriage wouldn't last. But nobody could deny what they witnessed. Emeka came to Adenze with friends for proper introductions. He paid Chica's bride price, with Mama Kechi receiving it since Chica had no family. Emeka held a small but lovely church wedding, inviting everyone, even those who mocked Chica. He wanted the entire city witnessing his pride in marrying her. On her wedding day, Chica looked radiant. Her beautiful white gown, perfect makeup, gentle, not harsh like before, and elegant hairstyle transformed her appearance. Entering the church, whispers filled the air. Some still judged, but many marveled at her transformation. This wasn't the rough street girl they knew. This woman glowed with happiness and hope. Emeka waited at the altar, eyes full of obvious love. The pastor preached about mercy, second chances, and God's transformative grace. Some congregants felt uncomfortable, sensing the sermon addressed their judgmental hearts. When the pastor pronounced them married, applause erupted. Even women who'd mocked Chica found themselves clapping, moved by the beautiful ceremony. After the wedding, Chica relocated to Lagos with her husband, beginning a new life in a spacious, beautiful home with a man who truly loved her. Emeka enrolled her in adult education classes for literacy improvement. Chica discovered her childhood intelligence remained intact. She learned rapidly. Emeka also established a boutique for her, selling women's clothing. Chica worked diligently, remembering poverty's sting and appreciating everything she had. Back in Adenze, life surprised many girls who'd felt superior to Chica. Nena, who'd studied accounting, graduated with excellent grades but couldn't find employment. The economy struggled. Companies wanted experienced candidates. After 2 years at 27, she remained unemployed, living with parents and single. Men wanted casual relationships. Good men were taken. Chidima, Aunty Ngozi's educated, prayerful daughter, faced similar struggles. Her mother cried nightly, wondering why her well-behaved daughter remained unmarried. Many graduates faced identical problems: no jobs or jobs with insufficient salaries, no husbands or men wanting them without commitment. The irony struck Adenze residents hard. The girl everyone dismissed now lived in a Lagos mansion, married to a loving, providing husband. The girls everyone predicted would succeed were struggling, still single, still searching for the life education supposedly guaranteed. Mrs. Okonkwo and other harsh judges felt ashamed. They remembered their cruelty toward an already suffering girl, the mockery, laughter, and using her as a negative example. One day, Mrs. Okonkwo heard from Mama Kechi that Chica had visited, bringing gifts and money as thanks for past kindness. "You should see her now," Mama Kechi smiled. "She's so happy, so different. Her husband treats her like royalty." Mrs. Okonkwo felt chest pain, remembering her treatment of Chica. That evening, she sat with Nena. "I'm sorry," Mrs. Okonkwo said. "For what, Mama?" Nena asked, confused. "I taught you to look down on others. I taught you feeling superior to people like Chica because you attended school. But education without compassion is worthless. Having a degree without kindness means nothing." She continued, "Education is good and important, but I taught you wrong. I taught judging others by circumstances instead of seeing their humanity. Now you struggle, not from any cause, but because life challenges everyone." Nena listened and wept, realizing she'd wasted energy feeling superior instead of focusing on being good. Similar conversations occurred throughout Adenze homes. Parents who'd used Chica negatively now used her differently, as an example that life is unpredictable, God's mercy is universal, and no human should be written off as worthless. 2 years post-wedding, Chica returned to Adenze with Emeka, bringing something special: a free vocational training center for school dropouts teaching sewing, hairdressing, catering, and computer basics. "I know what having nothing feels like," Chica told the first enrollees. "I know what being called useless feels like. But your past doesn't determine your future. You can still build good lives." Many girls in the center lived as Chica had, on the streets, doing questionable things to survive. Chica didn't judge, she helped. Adenze women who'd mocked Chica now showed respect. Some apologized. Chica forgave everyone. Mrs. Okonkwo brought in Nena. Can you teach her something? She has a degree but no job. Maybe she can learn skills while waiting. Chica welcomed Nena warmly, without bitterness. Aunty Ngozi brought Chidima. I was wrong about you, she said simply. I used you as a bad example, but you've become a good one instead. Chica smiled. Life taught me there's no such thing as a useless person. Only people who haven't found their purpose or met the right opportunity. Chica's story spread beyond Adenze, teaching mothers lessons to share with daughters, not as warnings, but as wisdom. Never judge people by circumstances. We don't know what pain drove them there. Chica wasn't bad, she was hurt, trying to survive. Life doesn't follow our plans. Education matters, but certificates don't guarantee success, and lacking them doesn't guarantee failure. True love sees hearts, not pasts. Emeka could have married anyone, wealthy, educated women. He chose Chica because he saw her true self. Anyone can change. Chica transformed from street girl to respected businesswoman and wife, proving transformation is possible with chance and support. Help the struggling instead of mocking them. If Adenze women had shown kindness during Chica's struggles, perhaps she wouldn't have suffered so long. But even without their kindness, God had plans for her life. Today, Chica and Emeka have 2 daughters. They live well in Lagos. Chica's boutique business expanded to 3 shops across Lagos. The Adenze Vocational Center continues helping dozens annually. Some girls started businesses, some found good husbands, some returned to education. Nena found employment and thrives. Struggles taught her humility, improving her character. She's grateful for life's lessons. Chidima nurses at a hospital. Still single, she stopped worrying, learning a woman's value isn't determined by having a husband. She's happy, trusting that if marriage is meant for her, it will come at the right time. The women who judged Chica learned compassion. Life taught them through irony. They learned to silence mockery because nobody knows what tomorrow brings. And Chica never forgot her origins. Looking at her children, husband, and comfortable life, she remembers the girl sleeping in a small room behind Mama Kechi's shop. She remembers hunger, mockery, and pain. But she also remembers that mercy, love, and hope found her. She lives daily grateful for life's second chance. My people, please help me like this video and subscribe to my channel. That's how you can support my channel. Thank you.